Elizabeth by Hurricane Beryl. Romardo Lyons has that story.
St. Bess at its worst. St. Elizabeth is known as the breadbasket parish, but the basket is battered and bruised at the hands of Hurricane Beryl. If the reports off the ground were alarming, the view from a bird's eye view paints the full picture of the destruction. Trees and homes sit in thick, brown, murky floodwaters. Buildings roofless and rain-tortured, looking like mere objects sprinkled in a stew of floodwaters. This is the reality for miles. The parish, which has forged ahead in agricultural production, providing the bulk of Jamaica's vegetable and fruit provisions, now in despair. Forested areas like a pool. Where there's no flooding, there's wreckage. Trees lay flat, holes in roofs, zinc and board scattered across the land. Jamaica's third largest parish, now one of the most affected and least spared. One goat here surrounded by destruction. The sheet blowing in the wind, the only thing moving in its immediate environs. These houses open and exposed. Their structures picked apart piece by piece. Some people here already trying to rebuild. The same here as these residents clear roadways. But the journey on the ground could only take you so far. Almost at every turn, roadblocks, trees across roadways, floodings. An example right here, even a fire truck left to a pause. A few residents look on, and ahead of them, others in waist-high water. On the outskirts, a long line of traffic, with motorists unaware of what truly lies ahead. Romardo Lyons, TVJ News.
And still in St. Elizabeth, 2 days after its passage, it's now clear southern St. Elizabeth was hardest hit by the Category 4 system. Now TVJ News flew to the area with a team from the Office of the Prime Minister.
She was inside the room here, lying down, and a board chop on the bed, and a nail was just an inch close from her head.
Natasha Bennett's focus was only on her 7-year-old daughter when the ceiling caved in here at her home.
She screamed out and I run in there and pick her up, and we have to try and get over by that red top house there. And he tried to pull one of the window and eventually he got it open, and you have to lift up both of us, go through it, and that's how we managed to go through this hurricane last night.
It was a relative's house. In addition to robbing them of the fry fish she was preparing, Beryl destroyed documents like passports, birth certificates, and importantly, newborn baby clothes. Natasha is also 7 months pregnant, and what she has not mentioned is that she was hit in her back and her side by the falling ceiling.
One of the time I reached to a point where I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like I'm gone for a moment. Don't know myself.
That's when her partner, Daje, who was scaling fish, jumped in.
As she screamed out, we rushed to her. When we rushed to her, I see it she get licked by the ceiling after the top blow off and stuff. So we kind of get panic, but we kind of just brave up back myself. To know say the 4 away in the house and 4 away I got dead, so we just have to seek a way out and run out in the hurricane. I try to look help, run to my auntie house.
And that's where they stayed. The 7-year-old was unharmed, but Natasha is unsure about her unborn.
Normally, in the morning when I wake up, I normally feel like, movements and stuff. I hadn't feeling any of that. As a matter of fact, from last night, I haven't felt any movements of the baby or anything at all.
Up to the time we spoke with her Thursday afternoon, she was unable to get medical attention. No transportation, and roads were impassable.
I go to hospital. What's your name, my number?
It was brought to the attention of MP Floyd Green and the Prime Minister, who were touring the damaged areas. They also promised immediate assistance to the family.
Give you some assistance to see if you can get some zinc. I'm not sure if you can put on a concrete decking on this house, but you want to get back very quickly. So you want some zinc.
Zinc on board.
More from the PM and Agriculture Minister in a moment. But this family's devastation in Billy's Bay, South St. Elizabeth, is similar to scores of others here. Wendy and her daughter Fantasia live in Treasure Beach. They were outside seeking refuge after their roof was lifted when a flying zinc chopped a piece of Fantasia's hair.
I see the zinc coming and I went down same time. I say, I will say in my mind, God save me. That's all I said. Well, my son lost a flat house. It's gone completely. And I am like just 2 apartments away from, just the roof is missing. My cousin has 2 houses, his 2 roofs are gone also.
Flying over, Beryl had left her mark.
There's nobody can describe it. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
The last of 5 hours, 5-6 hours.
But because it last even hour longer to make quite a flat.
It was against this backdrop that the Prime Minister and his team, transported by JDF chopper, visited with and sought to reassure residents.
Residents who live in these areas who are inconvenienced and displaced and dislocated, this is serious, and the government will act in a speedy way to assist the recovery process.
He commended what he said was the spirit of the community while looking ahead to brighter times for people like Natasha and her unborn child.
Don't name the baby Beryl if it's a girl. If it's a boy, name him Andrew.
Later in this newscast, killer Hurricane Beryl batters parts of Mexico. Please stay with us.
Welcome back. Continuing the news, a significant hit for agriculture. That's how Portfolio Minister Floyd Green is describing the impact of Hurricane Beryl on the sector. The Prime Minister, in the meantime, says the government is in a position to provide the needed assistance.
Rocky Point, Clarendon, boats and buildings damaged. Alligator Pond to a lesser degree. The worst we saw, southern parts of St. Elizabeth.
Clearly, this part of St. Elizabeth and St. Elizabeth in general has suffered tremendous devastation. Definitely the most extensive damage we've seen from a hurricane in decades. A lot of damage to houses, roofs that have been lost, poles that are down, trees that are out. So it's a very, very difficult time for the people of St. Elizabeth and South St. Elizabeth in general. How everybody?
Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says even as early assessments continue, the impact on farmers is significant.
We have the teams from RADA that are out in the field. I've been getting some of the reports. Clearly, significant damage across parts of Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, Manchester. Those are some of our most productive zones, so it means a significant hit to our agricultural sector. All crop lines, unfortunately, we've seen tremendous downing of our plantain and banana trees right across this belt. Our livestock farmers, we've gotten a lot of complaints from our chicken farmers who lost chicken, lost their chicken houses, and also our small ruminant farmers.
He says the government has provisions set aside to assist affected farmers.
I think we'll have a comprehensive assessment early next week in terms of the dollar amount, but the farmers know that we stand ready to help them. Clearly, our fishermen also would have suffered damage. A number of them came in, but they would still have pots at sea. We don't expect that a lot of pots will be left based on the magnitude of the storm. So we will have to provide some support so that they can start again. But the government stands ready to assist. Thankfully, we had earmarked some funds, so as soon as we get the assessment and we look at what we have, we will outline a plan of assistance.
I work something out with your...
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in the meantime, is asking Jamaicans to play their part in recovery efforts.
Government is going to move quickly. We're going to try and do as best as we can. But when that is paired with a victim that has agency, meaning someone who has been impacted but say, I'm going to take responsibility and do what I can, then the two things work together for speedy recovery. And that is the kind of attitude and spirit that I would like to see from the Jamaican people.
He's reassuring the country his administration has the capacity to respond without throwing off Jamaica's fiscal obligations.
In the past, even with low severity weather event, it would throw our financial and fiscal affairs into deficit. We would have to go and borrow to recover. When we have managed to make a change in that, and we're not expecting to have to do significant borrowing, all right? So we have created buffers.
Normalcy is close to being restored in St. James following Hurricane Beryl. Now this according to Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation. Details in this report.
St. James has developed a culture of disaster preparedness and emergency management.
It's for this reason Montego Bay Mayor Richard Vernon says the parish is quickly bouncing back after Hurricane Beryl. The Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay is back in business after being closed Tuesday night. Shane Monroe is the Chief Executive Officer of MBJ Airports Limited.
We're just happy to have our visitors back, being able to visit Jamaica. And also we know that there are inconveniences associated with the hurricane and with travel. But our passengers are able to travel once more.
St. James is one of the parishes least affected by Hurricane Beryl. Still, several communities remain without electricity, while several roads are impassable due to fallen trees. But according to Mayor Vernon, infrastructural damage is minimal.
We have sustained no damage to any of our assets, municipal assets, none associated with the Jamaica Defence Force, Jamaica Constabulary Force, Fire, Public Health. None of the entities reported any damaged assets. We are relatively good compared to what we have heard.
He said the parish got 2 calls for medical emergencies.
The one call came from Salt Spring, I believe, and the person suffered some laceration and thing, but from zinc. And that person was outside when the person should be inside. And we have heard other stories about deaths associated with the hurricane. I mean, the same principle may even apply in those cases, but that's another story. So we as citizens, we have to be more responsible.
And as the parish returns to welcoming tourists, the MBJ boss says the organization is expecting an increase in visitors going into next month.
We're tracking similar to traffic compared to last year, that's 2023. This holiday weekend, though, we expect quite a significant increase in traffic associated, of course, with the Jamaican National Holiday coming up, Independence, Emancipation Day, as well as some of the summer events that are happening. Of course, the industry continues to recover.
Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
Residents of Grand Spen in St. Thomas say one of their worst fears was realized after their homes were flooded and their street left impassable following Hurricane Beryl. As Jamila Maitland explains, they're not surprised at what they say caused the flooding, a breakaway from the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project.
Sand, silt and stones. An unpleasant surprise for residents of Grand Spen in St. Thomas, who opened their doors Wednesday morning to view the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. They were greeted by construction debris up to knee height.
The hurricane came and everything just washed out right down the road, backed my gate up with rubble. Water came right in my house, knee height, right through the house. Everything soaking wet.
On Mesner Boulevard, the road was covered in mud. Watch as this man carefully walks on 3 to 4 feet of debris. It's almost the height of half this gate, where the owner had already slaved to remove it.
We're trying to clean up by the place right now, so we don't know. We just see the MP come this morning and the phone staff and say them will come back. Well, them send a tractor clean the place, so we don't know why will be the outcome.
Along the Southern Coastal Highway, workmen viewed a breakaway that could have been the cause of the flooding. We asked NWA spokesman Stephen Shaw about it.
The issues in the Grand Spen community are known, at least some of them. Whatever transpired as a result of the passage of the Hurricane Beryl will have to be reviewed. We still have the contractor on the project. We have the consultants, and we expect that they are going to be reporting, they're going to be doing the investigations, and a report will be generated that will be forwarded to the attention of the CEO.
Beneath the breakaway is a drain that would take water away from the highway and onto the old road. Beyond the old road, however, is the Grand Spen community. Residents fear that the absence of a proper channel to take the water away from the community would result in a disaster. Luckily, no one was injured.
Well, I think it's because we don't have a proper drainage. That is the main cause of all of that, because the water doesn't have anywhere to run or to channel through. It's as you can see, the outcome.
Last month, Minister of Works Robert Morgan, during a tour of the project, said he too was not pleased. After listening to the residents, he said the issues would have been addressed, but nothing immediately was done. And so, Hurricane Beryl realized their worst fears. And with more rain on the horizon, the residents are worried.
We are at the mercy of the water right now. You understand? See the swamp over there come over now. And the crocodile, them in there, you know where them are going to do later. You understand? So we need some assistance from the authorities. Then we are beg them for help.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, is urging the public to exercise extreme caution in areas close to swamps, rivers, gullies, and other known crocodile habitats. Now, the issue arose following heavy rains caused by Hurricane Beryl. The warning follows the discovery of a crocodile in Portmore St. Catherine on Thursday.
Chaos in Waterford, St. Catherine Thursday morning in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. It wasn't the downed trees or infrastructure damage causing the commotion. It was the discovery of a crocodile in the community.
From about 5:30 this morning, we hear the dogs them are bark, then we're not hearing no barking again. Come out about 6 o'clock, we realize there are a crowd of people around here who look, realize the crocodile is there.
I was expecting to hear that due to the fact that they start cleaning the drain, so we would have disturbed their habitat.
The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, was immediately called to remove the reptile. However, TVJ News understands that the agency took hours to arrive on location. So, 3 community members intervened.
They are the one where I say, put the rope over the crocodile tail, that thing can come out of the gully. Because if it go over the tail, it will come out.
People who are not used to them things are afraid. But once you're out there in the whole wildlife, you don't have to be a crocodile hunter, you can be crab, fish, anyone. You have to encounter them things. They say, you know, just have to do what you have to do, because we have whole kids in our scheme, you know. And we can't afford if it is that crocodile is pregnant, you know, then breed up and cause problem, you know.
They are braver than the rest, and they have the community at heart. They went into the drain and decided to start roping up the reptile. From you can see down that side, they have roped up the reptile. They have taped it up. It is safe. It was not harmed, and we're still awaiting NEPA. And it's now 10 o'clock. NEPA is still not here, so I'm hoping that the police, through their intervention, can call NEPA for us again and hasten their steps here.
It's possible for similar situations to occur in other communities located close to swamps, rivers, gullies, and other known crocodile habitats following Hurricane Beryl. It's why NEPA, in a press release Friday, urged residents to avoid bathing in or near these areas, as crocodiles are likely to move with floodwaters and may be found in locations outside of their original habitat. The release further said it is also ill-advised to feed the animal, and no one should attempt to capture or harm them when seen, as they may become defensive if cornered or attacked. This because, according to the Wildlife Protection Act, it is an offense to possess, hunt, kill, capture, or willfully molest a crocodile. If found guilty of the offense, persons may be charged a maximum fine of $100,000 or face 1 year imprisonment. Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
And time now for responses from our friends on Facebook and Twitter to our question: what do you think should be the top 3 priority areas for the authorities in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl? First comment is from Deidre, who says access to water, electricity and connectivity, inability to communicate with family members in some areas is impacting the mental health of some persons. Kimmy says access to clean water, food and housing. And Alex says 1, durable infrastructure, meaning cheap patching of roads that readily roads once there is a rainfall cannot continue. Says 2, cost-effective alternative energy solutions. And 3, timely preventative maintenance and ongoing monitoring, especially for keeping gullies and drains clear throughout the year and not during hurricane season alone. And Prince says 1, telling the truth. 2, making sure the elderly and most vulnerable are okay as soon as possible. And 3, the immediate release of contingency funds, which should go to the relief efforts and not in the pockets of politicians. So again, keep those comments coming on Facebook.com and on on X rather. And here's a question again: what do you think should be?
Week brought to you by King Alarm. King Alarm, the obvious choice.
Beryl, you know, bury me. You know, bury nobody. Thank you for pass and go on. You're going to take off a couple of stop and mash up my building. Starting all over again, it's going to be rough. But I'm rough and tough. It's better the assets gone than my life.
Bite of the Week brought to you by King